love everybody alive. Let's love everybody alive. Let's love everybody alive. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. We're working a little sound thing there. I hear the heater running. Do you guys feel the warmth coming in? Nothing to fear, I know. So I walked in today, and somehow or another, the fuse went out, and it was like 54 degrees in this room. And it had me thinking about the first year that I was here, and the furnaces went out, and SDG&E said, you can't fix them because they're old and they're broken and they don't make parts. And so it was an interesting winter with no furnaces in this building. And a very, very generous family came forward and invested a significant amount of money to put furnaces and air conditioning in the building. And I remember that today because it's our annual meeting, and I'm always grateful for the remarkable generosity of people who support the vision of this community. And we have heat. Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Sid. It's, it used to be it would be biting cold. Anyway, it's nice to see you all here this morning, and I can feel the warmth up here, so I know that it's kicked in, and if it's still chilly, let me know, and we'll inch it up a little bit there. It's good to see you guys here, and hopefully you guys who are there in the virtual world are nice and warm and cozy as well. So good morning, Lee. How you doing?
Quite well. It's been quite a roller coaster week, but ending on a high, especially right here.
Yeah, very good, and it's warm to boot. Yep.
Yeah, nice and warm.
Jim, good seeing you. How was class?
It was fantastic.
Good. And Annie, nice to see you here. Always, I've seen you. I've seen you. And I'm always happy to see you. I don't think you're on.
I will be.
There you are.
There we go.
Okay, so before I say anything I don't want to say, I'll let you start the service. No, I wouldn't say anything bad. I would just maybe say something. I'll just stop right there. It's all good. You're fabulous. I love you.
Thank you. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday celebration. We're all still finding our seats. So yes, we have our annual meeting today, and it will be hybrid for those in our virtual world, so they can participate. So we already are here moving forward into this day, this brisk day. So I would love to begin with prayer, and in doing that, just invite you all to settle in and be comfortable. So what I know is that the divine is ever present. He is a pervading presence of love and light and beauty. And you and I and each and every one of us can lay down our burdens and can offer our prayers, our recognition, our love for all of the gifts that are here. And all we need do is open our eyes to each other, to our homes, to our families, to our four-legged ones, to nature and all its beauty. So it is in this consciousness I pray. I pray to the divine beloved, this one of light and love that lives within me and each and every one of us. This one that knows greater than you and I, and we can have great faith in this love and in this light. So to mercy and divine love, to peace and grace, and all that is here and around us, I give thanks. I put my heart in the consciousness of gratitude. I put my being in the consciousness of being present. So I offer this to each and every one of us, that may this be a blessed day. May your heart open wide and your spirit expand and your love grow ever present to the divine that is within you and me and all of us. May we feel uplifted by the words and joyous through the music and kind through the love and the caring of each other. So I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, for all that is here and for this moment and throughout this day. I call it forth into being. May it be so, and so it is. So we have our few steps that most of us, if not all of us, know. We'll begin with our reading, and we've been doing a beautiful loving kindness meditation. So after the reading, I'm going to guide us into this loving kindness meditation, and then we'll have our 3 minutes of silence. So the reading for today is from the book of Ecclesiastes, and the words are, God has made everything beautiful in its time. He has set eternity in the human heart. So with that, we begin our journey of our heart into loving kindness. So what I know to be true is the first one is you. I am. So in your imagination, you may choose to see a beloved one who may be two-legged, a beloved one who may be four-legged, even a winged one, nature itself. And this one is in front of you, and all it sees is you. And to that one, you are the beloved. You. So into your heart, you are seeing this one in front of you, this thing in front of you, this love in front of you. And it is beaming into you, I love you. To me, you are the divine beloved. And the loving kindness is, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. And then, of course, you turn your gaze to that winged one, that beautiful nature, that four-legged one, that two-legged one. You turn your gaze to that one. Ever so easy is it to say, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. And then there is no image before you now. There is just the imagination of this love, this light. It may even be a color, magenta, peacock blue, sky blue. It's in you and all around you. So now it is in this sanctuary. And into this sanctuary of light and love, to your neighbor in front of you, to your neighbor to the right and left, before you and behind you. To the walls itself and the energy beyond, to all kingdoms and all levels of consciousness. It is all of us. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. To this entire globe, to the planet and beyond, to all that is and ever has been. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. In this consciousness, we sit for 3 minutes of silence. I invite you to take a breath. Just take a deep breath. Experience that energy moving through a little deeper, a little richer, a little bit more. Take another deep breath and warm up on the inside out. Thank you for your kind attention.
Wash over us. We let it be. Over us. We let it be. Peace, we let peace. Let peace wash over us. We let it be. We let peace wash over us. We let it be. Let's do joy. We let joy wash over us. We let it be. We let joy wash over us. We let it be. Let's do life. We let life wash over us. We let it be. We let life wash over us. We let it be. Back to love. We let love wash over us. We let it be. One more time with all you got. We let love wash over us. We let it be. So beautiful, so beautiful. Please welcome Dr. Reverend Guy Williams.
So it's good to see you all this morning. Thanks for being here. It was cold and all that other stuff. So yesterday, before I even start, so whoever you are today, if you are a member, a congregant, a visitor, if it's your first time, or if you've been coming here since like day one, please stay because there's a ton of food. I know that Mike made some chili today, and Kurt has made he's made a couple things. He's made soup, a lentil soup, and quesadillas, and some other things. Anne probably brought something remarkable. And yesterday, Annie and I, we did not cook. We went to Costco and bought some sandwiches just because we wanted to have a little nosh. Anyway, so on our way there, I wanted to stop and get gas, and I did. And as we're waiting in line, there was this. So here's the trick for me, because I've already made up a story about who these people were, and I have no idea who they were. So the first one was an older gentleman, looked like an older gentleman. I wanted to say he looked like an old hippie because he had like long hair, and he was kind of the guy I'd probably know. And then the story goes that, and probably his grandson, because it was somebody that was probably in his early 20s, and so there's like a 40-year difference. And I don't know who this man was or who the other man was at all. But I've got this whole story being made. But anyway, they were in line, and he got out, and he's kind of like walking around in the area where you get gas, and we're kind of getting impatient. We are impatient. And so I turn and I make a whatever the case may be, and was very clever and got gas. And off we went to Costco and did our shopping. And Costco it was Saturday afternoon in Costco, so you know what that's like. And we were doing all what we're doing and getting in line. And, God was not finished with me yet. Because who is 2 people ahead of me in line but this gentleman with a large cart of food that he proceeds to pay for as he's taking out of his pockets baggies of nickels, dimes, quarters, pennies, as my witness. He is paying his Costco in coins, little baggies of quarters, baggies of dimes, baggies of nickels, baggies of pennies. And, excuse me, please. And so now two people, what do you call those people that work at the counters there? Those 2 people, there's 2 of them counting out all this other kind of stuff. So to avoid looking with horror, we turn around and we strike up this lovely conversation with this woman that was running 15 minutes late. And, so the whole world ground to a halt. But by the end of it, we were like really friendly with this woman. We're just about ready to start showing pictures of our kids and dogs and the whole thing. And here's the point of the whole thing is it was so easy to make up a story about this person. And the person that was with him that I want to think was his grandson, and again, I have no clue who these people were. I don't know if it was his grandson or not. Was looking mortified. You could tell that he was flushed and he was kind of whatever he was. And but what came to me is this line. I think Philo says it first, and people say different renditions of it, which is, be kind, because everyone is fighting a great battle. I don't know the story. You don't know the story. But we all create a story about what's going on. And really, at the end of the day, we can practice this incredible trait called empathy. The ability to just, be present to it without making up a story. And you could watch people at different points in Costco doing backflips. And we just kind of really as a practice, and it was a conscious practice not to get caught into that. But Henry David Thoreau says something really interesting. He says it's not so much what you are looking at, but what you're seeing. It's not so much what you're looking at, but what you're seeing. Because what we're seeing is the end result of our memories, our dreams, our experiences, of all that we have come to believe and not believe, and all the things that create up that astral body within us. And any one of us could have been looking at that event. But what's more interesting about what we're looking at is what were we seeing? And therein lies the practice, and therein lies the path to God. Therein lies everything, because at the end of the day, every one of us is that guy. Every one of us is that other guy that was with him. Every one of us is everybody else that's there, because we're all part of this whole thing that's going on. And what story are we perpetuating by wanting to distance ourselves from it and make up a judgment about it? Well, he's this, he's that, he's that. We don't know a thing. We don't know a thing. It's not so much what we're looking at, but it's what we're seeing. I've been lately using these words as comfort from me. They come from Sharon Salzberg, who's that wonderful Buddhist teacher. She says, we set forth, we struggle, we lose our balance, and then realizing it, we begin again. We set forth, we struggle, we lose our balance, and then realizing it, we begin again. You know, what the Buddha says is it's not so much, it doesn't matter how many times we forget, as long as we remember. We set forth, we lose our balance, and then realizing it, we begin again. And you know, what I've got to say is, you know, that's my ministry. I set forth, I think I got this great idea. I think I got this thing that's going on. And then it wobbles, then it falls apart, and then I realize it starts again. It's more than my ministry, it's my life, you know. I set forth, I lose my balance, I realize it, I begin again. I'll wager it's your life too. You know, be kind, because all of us are working something through in one way or the other. And again, going back to the guiding mantra, the compass of my life, Ted Lasso, from Walt Whitman, be curious, not judgmental. Because when we're curious, we're open, we're intrigued. When we're judgmental, we're clinging, we're closed, we're saying no. There's a thought that I've been just sort of milling on, because earlier in the week, Annie shared with me the reading that she was doing, and it's a beautiful reading. And Ecclesiastes is like this great wisdom book in the Hebrew Bible, and I'd like to read it again, you know, because this particular verse comes right after that whole litany of to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. You know, Ecclesiastes, whoever this person was or persons, who wrote this incredible prophetic poetry, we're truly just looking at our state of being and what it means to live a good life and how we live. But, you know, he writes it this way. He says, God has made everything beautiful in his time. In its time, he has set eternity in the human heart. Oh my goodness gracious, that's lovely. So being the person that I'm in, I always want to see the context of it, right? So I whip out my Bible to read the verse and just see, because I use another translation, and I just kind of want to see what it said there. And what I realized, what was interesting, is that the place where Annie got the quote, which is this great wealth of quotes that we get in New Thought, that person didn't finish the sentence. And I thought, isn't that interesting? So let me read that with the continuation of the sentence of that verse. God has made everything beautiful in its time. He has set eternity in the human heart. And then it goes on, without enabling them to discover what God has done. All this beauty is there without enabling us to see all of it. What does that mean? Where do I go with that, you know? And so this is where it's fun for me to write a talk, because it's often, you know, jumping from one rabbit hole to the next rabbit hole to the next rabbit hole. And so I thought, you know, what is that triggering in my imagination when I hear that line? Without enabling them to see what God has done from beginning to end. From beginning to end. Not being able to see the whole thing from beginning to end. Finding, how do I find context in all this? So as I'm thinking about that, what comes to me is this line from St. Paul in the book of Corinthians where he says, and I'm quoting from the King James Version because that's the one we most know. And also as a Freemason, we use this text. But anyway, it says, but we see through a glass darkly. Have you ever heard that line from St. Paul? But we see through a glass darkly. What does that even mean? We see through a glass. I kind of know what that means. You're kind of looking through something murky. You don't quite see it yet. And so this is how I've always understood that text, which is, I'm looking through like smoky glass and I don't quite know anything because really, human consciousness is this evolution and there will be a time when it will be clearer to me, but right now this is how I see it. But the more I'm aware, the more I'm conscious, the more I do whatever, things I do, my vision will get better because there is truth in that. That consciousness is an evolutionary process within all of us. We are all waking up to one degree or another. But it's really not what St. Paul said. Because in the Greek, the word that is used for glass is the Greek word asperion, which is really an ancient mirror. And darkly isn't what is used. The word there is an enigma, which we get the word enigma. So we look in a mirror puzzled. Okay, what does that mean? And then another rabbit hole. Who can explain that best? St. Augustine. Moody old cranky St. Augustine. And I have a whatever story. Again, here I am making up a story about saying, like I know the man. I don't have a clue about this person. Do I? Except stories that I've heard about stories that I've heard that stories that I've heard, blah, 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 blah. So what's interesting, what Augustine says is he quotes this line from St. Paul. And he says this is what he believes St. Paul is saying. When we look in a mirror, what we see is an image of ourself. When we look in a mirror, what we see is an image of ourself. In other words, it doesn't matter what you're looking at, what do you see? You see your own perception in whatever the situation is. Looking through a window glass darkly, I'm seeing an image of myself. And whatever thoughts or stories or ideas that I hold about who I am and what I am all about and anything that I say about myself is projected onto anyone and everything that I see. And I'm just going to venture that that's probably true for you as well. That we do that. We're just kind of always mirroring. And again, Ernest Holmes says this, right? He says, our experience of God is predicated by our perception of God. What we think God is what we experience. What we think the world is what the world is to us. What you see your life as is what your life is to you. But it's all around a story. And the story is essentially something that is the highest wisdom that we have made up in response to the circumstances of our life. Well, what if we change the story? Then we change the perception. Then perhaps the experience that we're in would be very different. Meister Eckhart, who was a 12th century mystic, I'm kind of onto this old Christian mystics things today. Often. A lot. And probably because, as much as I love Buddhism, and I do, and as much as I love and respect Islam, and I do, or Hinduism, or whatever the case may be, what is most familiar to me is the Western mystery tradition, because that's what I grew up with, that's what I'm interested in. It's kind of like music, too. It's not like I think Tyler Perry is bad or good or anything. I just don't know it. But ask me about Chet Baker, ask me about Stick Figure, man, I'm all into that. But, give me another type of music, and it's not that I judge it, or try not to. It's just that I'm not familiar with it, and I'm familiar with the nuances of the Western mystery tradition. Going all the way from the early esoteric traditions, the mystery schools, the development of Christian mysticism, Kabbalah, all of that. And so I lean toward that. But anyway, Meister Eckhart he was a 12th century Rhineland mystic, and he says this. He says, "Your heart's desire will fill your mouth, your actions, and your labor. You will know what you love by what you say, where you go, and what you do. Your heart's desire is easily revealed." So here's the big one, right? What is your heart's desire? Because it's the guiding point of your life. We talk about the different kingdoms of consciousness, right? That if we're living at the effect of things, first kingdom, if we're living at the effect of things, victim, that our heart's desire is safety, protection, holding it in, which are good and noble things. As we evolve and realize that we have a level of authority within our own life, our desire expands a little bit, right? It's bigger. We're able to want more. We expand more as we evolve in consciousness to an idea that there's a present working through us. There's a power of good that is available to us. Well, then we expand, and our heart's desire expands when we realize we are the beloved. When we are the beloved. And that what our heart truly yearns for is what our whole motivation of life is for. That's where it gets interesting. That's where it gets fun. That's where we begin to co-create. As Teilhard said, we are evolution become conscious, intentional, directional. So what is that guiding purpose? All this month we have been talking, the theme has been, I love myself and the one that I am with. And I have played with that theme quite a bit because I love myself and the one that I'm with. My partner, who I love dearly. My family, which consists of dogs, trees, her, our roses, all that other kinds, because we're pretty universal as far as where our family is. It's not even limited to mammals. It's plants, trees, and all that. I love myself and the one that I'm with. But really, I love myself and the one that I'm with. The very essence of my being, my true self. Not just my etheric, not just my astral, not just my mental, but the very essence, the I am that I'm with. Recognizing that the truest thing about me and the truest thing about you is that we are the beloved. And that the greatest force and power on earth, in the universe, in the cosmos, and beyond, or wherever, or however, is the power of love. Kenosis, that giving of itself to itself, through itself, as itself, in all things. And wow, if it is the power of love that is looking at that guy in Costco with the nickels, dimes, quarters, pennies, what I am seeing is the face of God. And whatever resistance is bubbling up inside of me is simply me trying to confirm a story that is not that story, that is not that thing. Whatever I may become impatient or angry about something or somebody, it's so easy to do these days, isn't it? The Wall Street Journal said, you know what? Now we have evidence. It was a lab leak. Imagine that. And where can I go with that thing, right? I can look at that. I can see it through the eyes of the divine. I want to offer you, in closing, a prayer. And the prayer is a poem from probably the most vilified character in the Christian Bible. One that none of us really know, except the stories that we hear about him and the judgments that we hold. But he wrote this. It's St. Paul. And I just invite you to consider these words as a prayer. If I speak in tongues of human beings and of angels, but I don't have love, I'm a clanging gong or a clashing cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and know all the mysteries and everything else, and if I have such a complete faith that I can move mountains, but I don't have love, I am nothing. If I give away everything that I have and had over my own body and even my own body to feel good about what I have done, but I don't have love, I receive no benefit whatsoever. Love is patient. Love is kind. It isn't jealous. It doesn't brag. It isn't arrogant. It isn't rude. It doesn't seek its own advantage. It isn't irritable. It does not keep a record of complaints. It isn't happy with injustice, but is happy with the truth. Love hurts up with all things, trusts in all things, hopes for all things, endures all things. Love never fails. As for prophecies, they will be brought to an end. As for tongues, they will stop. As for knowledge, it will be brought to an end. We know in part what we prophesy in part, but when the perfect comes, what is partial will be brought to an end. When I was a child, I used to speak like a child, reason like a child, think like a child. But now I have become a man, and I put an end to childish things. Now we see a reflection in a mirror. Then we will see it face to face. Now I know partially, but then I will know completely in the same way that I have been completely known. Now faith, hope, and love remain. These three things, but the greatest of these is love. And my invitation as we are moving forward today is that what we are looking at with this center, we are seeing in the eyes of love. Thank you.
Perfect for the song I chose today. I was thinking all week, what song am I going to do after the talk today? And thinking about the extreme winter in 22 states across the country and the coldest in Encinitas I've felt, I think, ever. So I thought about this song. Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, It is a hunger, an endless ache and need. But I say love, it is a flower, and you, it's only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes a chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give. And the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think the love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember in the winter, far beneath the bitter snow, lies the seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose. Just remember, Bette Midler.
Thank you, Lee. I love that song. Such a beautiful song. Yeah,
It is.
so deep.
It is.
It's everything we talk about.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you, Rev Guy, for your wisdom.
Absolutely.
Ever, ever, ever expanding. So I share that love of Rev's wisdom with you all the time. So I have a little practice I do in the evening. I ask 3 questions. What or who inspired you today? What or who brought you comfort? And what or who brought you joy? So the Let's Go adventure brought me joy yesterday because I can be a kind of quiet, inward person, and there we were, having a phenomenal conversation with the woman to the left and the family to the right, and especially this one here. We were just laughing like a gut-loving laugh. Nothing to do with the gentleman, just in that moment. And that laugh and that joy, and almost opening up our phones to show pictures of our dogs, brought
And
me
opening
joy.
a bottle of wine.
That too, brought me joy, great joy. And so I offer that for you. 3 questions. Right? Lying in bed, what inspired you today? What comforted you today? What or who brought you joy? In this consciousness we give. We give in knowing that there is inspiration right here and now. There is comfort right here and now. You'll find it, you'll see it, and there is joy. And so we give with this consciousness to expand the good that is here already, whether it shows up in one way or another. We give with the way of consciousness. So as you are conscious of the gift that you are giving today, and as you put your love, your joy, your inspiration into that, back to what you have received, giving forth, we say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, always and forever. Thank you.
a little bit of a personal gratitude as I just think about, all that goes into this to create our Sunday celebration, whether it's Wendy coming in and tuning up the sanctuary, making it look beautiful, the greeters that are there are welcoming people, the small crowd in the kitchen that are preparing a feast for us, Mark, who's here before anybody else, tuning up the courtyard and setting up things and setting the coffee to brew so that when everybody else walks in the building today, there's hot coffee. And Jim, who's doing his gig, working with people and teaching his class and then playing music, and Paul and Steve, who makes us all sound and look good, and anybody that Noreen and Andrea, who are in the gift shop, and Andrea, who is in the gift shop, and she's in the office, and she's here and she's there, and everybody else. So all that, but the one that I want to thank today, because I won't have an opportunity to thank him during the annual meeting because he's got a gig, is our music director, Coulter, and how grateful.
Thank you.
How grateful I am personally to call you a friend and a collaborator here through these last couple of years, and how grateful I am to have your music, and I know how grateful the community is to have you here as well. So
I've grown so much being here, so it's been a platform for me to really explore what I do. So thank you, and the warmth and the love is reciprocated.
Good, thank you very much. And I see that on your Facebook that you're doing some kind of you're doing shows again on Facebook. Is that right?
Yeah, I used to do them twice a week.
Right.
In the pandemic, I'm not going to do that. Like maybe once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was a roller coaster week. You talking about having a bit of a conundrum that led to joy in
Mm-hmm.
Costco. I had a conundrum of a busted head gasket in my car. And I thought, it was $4,300. How am I going to do this? And I reached out to my fan base on Facebook and social media, and they just came through, and someone fixed the car. Well, it's in the shop right now, but they could fix it for a lot less. And then a bunch of other fans could help me pay for it. So it was all this joy. Now I'm going to do these house concerts, and so it's just an example of that vulnerability. Reach out, connect, and comes back.
It's not what we're looking at; it's what we see. Yeah, right on. That's fabulous.
Yeah,
good to know.
It's incredible. Like I'm still trying to process and own that it happened. Little imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Cool. So anyway, so we are having our annual meeting. You are all invited, encouraged. I don't know how else, begged, cajoled, threatened, whatever else to be there. If anything else, we got good eats, man. We got good eats. There's people in the kitchen that are doing something. So stay for the feast, hang for the meeting. There's some interesting stuff we want to show you, and talked about the state of the center. Talked about the new elect new board members. Talk about that, and some exciting opportunities that we're going through. I'm feeling really optimistic, really excited about our center right now. I really am. So with that, let's close with a prayer. Oh yeah, the others and the announcements. I forgot that. So there's several things coming down the road. The first is, people have been asking, first is prayer ministry, of course. So the first thing we do is pray. So we'll stay with prayer for right now. So there are many ways to pray. We're probably not going to do a prayer circle today because of the annual meeting. But if you would like prayer today, you can have it. Just ask one of the practitioners, talk to Annie, talk to Kurt, talk to Craig, talk to Terry. Any other practitioners in the room? Paul, Reverend Laura. Yeah, there's plenty of practitioners. If you don't leave with prayer today, it's not because of us. So just grab somebody. They're going to be happy to pray with you. Fill out a prayer request. We're happy to pray with you during that. So there's plenty of ways for prayer. There's a class that I'm teaching because people have been asking, how do you become a member of this community? I want to become a member. So starting in 2 weeks, on Wednesday for 4 weeks, is an introduction to New Thought and the Hilltop Center. And it's going to be a hybrid class, meaning that it's going to be live here at the center, and it's also going to be on Zoom. And there is no cost for the class. And if you would just like a update on New Thought, what it is, what we believe, who we are, who this center is, how it got around, who I am, and why I'm here every Sunday, and the basis of our teachings, and are curious or interested in becoming a member, overjoyed to have you with. There's a sign-up sheet out there. We'd love to have you. I'd love to have you in the class, get a chance to get to know you. So that's going on. Jim is continuing his class on the well-being and the Tao. And then on Wednesdays at 1 is Paul's doing his tap into the presence of your being meditation, which is lovely, and it's a great energy to have here. And the Open Mind gift store has got all kinds of cool things. And I was in there the other day because that's where I buy my incense and other things. Anyway, there's all kinds of cool stuff in there. So please stop by and see that. And for all of you guys that brought food today, thank you so much for doing that. We're good. So let's pray. Church rentals. Oh, okay. Yeah. Our building is open for renting. If you know any kind of events that are coming down the road, we're also going to open up some office spaces. If you know somebody or you yourself are interested in an office, we have that. So talk to one of us about that as well. So with that, we again allow ourselves to enter into that place of well-being, recognizing that we are the beloved, one with that infinite loving presence that is all things as all things. We just open up in gratitude for this experience to be here together. And may this day fill each and every one of us with amazement, wonder, and surprise. May we always be aware that there is a wisdom that is guiding us, a strength that is supporting us, and that beauty is before us, behind us, above us, around us. So we are filled with amazement and joy and wonder. And we give thanks, letting it be, and so it is.
Wow, so I learned this song last night. I wanted to play this special song that I didn't really know until I thought I'd better learn something like a Nina Simone song. And this is written by Billy Taylor in 1963. Does anyone know Billy Taylor? See, when I heard this song, I just thought, this is the most beautiful heart. And when you hear these lyrics, it's a complex, heavy song, but it allows us to appreciate our privilege. But if you can just hear the heart in this and the complexity, I just wanted to honor Billy Taylor, 1963. Well, I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. Well, I wish I could say all the things I should say. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole wide world to hear. And I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. And I wish you could know what it means to be me. And then you'd see and you'd agree that everyone should be free. Free. Sing it with me. Sing it. Free. Sing it free. Free. And I wish I could give all the longing to give. And I wish I could live how I'm longing to live. And I wish I could do all the things that I can do. Though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. Well, I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea. And I'd sing 'cause I'd know. Yes, I'd sing 'cause I'd know. Yeah, I'd sing 'cause I'd know how it feels to be free. Yeah, I'd sing 'cause I'd know how it feels to be free. We should sing, well, I know how it feels feels to be free. Singing free. Singing free. Singing free. Well, I wish I could know how it feels to be free. Billy Taylor in 1963. That's an American song right there.